Don in London, hello. July 27th. Where is this year going? July 27th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour. Addicted to people, places and things. The right people in the right place with the right things, doing the right things. I guess. Trying to be perfect. All those years of drink. And never quite satisfied with what was going on. Me. Felt less than. Felt I needed to catch up in some way with what was going on. Always felt behind the times. Anyway, the good news is, these days, I don't live in the past. I live in the present, which is the best place, the very essence of living spiritually, as many people say. Spiritual being the ability to cope with now. And that's quite difficult if we've spent a long time in the addiction of alcohol or any other substance, or the addiction of trying to be something with people, in places, right things. So it was quite a surprise when I actually realised I was completely dependent on alcohol and then addicted to alcohol. And I guess it could have been any substance. I guess I'm still quite addicted to coffee and caffeine. But maybe it's less harmful than alcohol. I know it is for me. So what's made this possible, this transition from being an addict of one sort or another, doesn't matter what sort really, into a person in recovery, one day at a time? Well, family, friends, community, medical people, all helps me get sober, just by being able to keep me alive. And then a fellowship came along, and I'm not quite sure how it all happened, other than the prompt was from my sister, for which I'm eternally grateful. She saved my life. I got to the fellowship of AA, and I realised I was an alcoholic, and I admitted it, but I don't know that I was very good at accepting the fact of my addiction. So what helped me accept? Well, I still accept on a daily basis. I've learned that life is all about today. Today is the foundation stones, if you like, of tomorrow. And if I'm on track today, understanding what is good for me and what is not good for me, and being able to put into practice a program of living well with good principles, that is, exercising freedom of choice as life affords, then I'm on the right path. So this fellowship, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, I speak a lot about it, but I don't represent it. I never can and never will. It's full of unique, authentic people with their own background, their own understanding of life, their own faith, their own way of living. But we have this one common denominator, that is a desire to be sober today. So it's a 24-hour program of living, and we have 12 steps to help us keep safe and be open, honest and willing to change as life changes, and we have freedom to change. So it's not a freedom to do whatever you like and forget what else is going on in the world. We work with what is real, our real life circumstances, and exercise the freedoms we have within that. So I had to get real about living, and I'm really pleased I was able to do that. So how does AA help me? Well, I'll share the AA Preamble, which is on this little card here, and you can find the AA Preamble online in a multitude of places, but probably the best place to go is the official website of AA, which provides you with information not only about what is AA, but the big book online, the main book which makes it possible to study it at home or on the train or in a plane, you name it. And the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions is online as well from the official websites. So I guess I'm filling in a bit whilst there's catch up on one or two other elements, like the Daily Reflection book, this one here, which I share from, and also my own personal thoughts on how my recovery is going on a daily basis. So first, the AA Preamble. What is AA? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes outside any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So, a desire to stop drinking, the only requirement, and when we're in the fellowship, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that element about AA not being allied with anything, it's not. But the good news is, you can be allied to whatever you like, and everybody is allied to something: family, friends, community, church, politics, you name it. We all have affiliations outside the fellowship, and we carry those on, providing they help us with sober living, I guess. And even if they don't help us with sober living, we have a toolkit called the 12-step program. And that's what I share about in these videos. The Daily Reflections book I mentioned covers the 12 steps, one a month, and I follow that process with my videos. So July is all about step 7, which reads exactly: humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings, and the him in question is God, or a higher power. So many people in the fellowship have a personal faith and an understanding of God which works for them. And what I know is everybody's understanding of God is their own. So you don't have to join in with somebody else's. You can find your own, or you can remain agnostic or atheist. And agnostic is somebody who doesn't know whether there's a God or not. And it's not sitting on the fence, I don't feel. It's no experience and don't know. And atheist is somebody who does not believe in God. And there are many scientists within the program who have tried to find out where God may be, and have yet to find where God may be, or that mathematically you can probably prove there is one, a God, because the nature and the universe works to a plan, or a design, I think it's probably better, and behind that there may well be a higher power. But you see, for me, the higher power is the God of my understanding, which is truth, love and wisdom. Absolute truth, not my opinion or belief. Love, the ability to love people and be loved back unconditionally. And wisdom which I get from other people. That's my higher power. And the higher power can be the road sweeper, sweeping the roads when I have a conversation for some reason or other as I go by. Or the man on the bus, or coach, or train, or aeroplane. Wisdom comes from other people, and I then develop my own wisdom. But I'm not the higher power. So if I come to believe there is a power greater than me, which there is, it's called humanity, and beyond, where I don't know, I feel very happy with that. So when humbly asked him, the higher power is for me truth, love and wisdom, which manifests through others, and then I learn about it. And my shortcomings: not enough faith, not enough courage maybe, and not enough confidence, all those things. So July is an important month, learning how to develop courage, faith and confidence in living. And the only way we develop courage, faith and confidence in living is to live without a drink and see what happens. So that's as simple as it gets. But we do make it ever so complicated, because we're human and we want to know what's behind it, and we want to know the what if, and why is it so that I can't beat alcohol on my own. And I spent a lifetime, 35 years, or half a lifetime maybe. I hope I've got as much time left. Don't know about that though. Oh gosh, that was loud. It's my telephone. So what are the AA Daily Reflections for today? Hoping that I have a lifetime in one day. That's the way I look at it. A one-day program for a lifetime. What are the AA Daily Reflections? It says here, the Worth of Sobriety for July 26th. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. and this is important, AA is not affiliated to anything, and it's there for sobriety. So we are self-funding. That is, if we've got a few coins in our pocket to help pay rent and pay for the tea and coffee, then, and some literature probably, then all is well. We're not about money. We don't save it. We spend what we have, and we don't accrue anything, because if we did, money would become an issue of how we spend it. So we're not about being rich. In fact, being able to live on a daily basis as a person and as a fellowship is really what it is all about, because today is all we have. When I go shopping, I look at the prices, and if I need what I see, I buy it and pay. Now that I'm supposed to be in rehabilitation, I have to straighten out my life. When I go to a meeting, I take a coffee with sugar and milk, sometimes more than one. But at the collection time, I am neither too bust to make money out of I'm neither too bust. There's a lot of sirens this morning. There's a lot going on in London. When I go to a meeting, I take a coffee with sugar and milk, sometimes more than one. But at collection time, I am either too bust to take money out of my purse, or I do not have enough. But I am there because I need this meeting. I heard someone suggest dropping the price of a beer into the basket, and I thought that's too much. I almost never give $1. Like many others, I rely on the more generous members to finance the fellowship. I forget that it takes money to rent the meeting room, buy the milk, sugar and cups. I will pay without hesitation 90 cents per cup of coffee at a restaurant after the meeting. I always have money for that. So how much is my sobriety and my inner peace worth? And this is about Tradition 7. And it's about we keep ourselves poor, really. Not to the point of penury, which is nothing. There is no need to have more than enough. Or I might say, there is no need to have anything more than enough. And that applies to everything, because we can only deal with what we've got today. But of course there are other considerations in life, depending on life circumstances and our personal and family obligations. But when it comes to fellowship, all we need to cover is the basics. And that way, money will never be an issue in fellowship, because if it were, it's bad enough if we have a surplus in a meeting of a few pounds or dollars to send it on to the intergroup or the head office where literature is manufactured according to amounts of money available, and so forth. It goes like that. Just enough is enough. So it never becomes a problem, unless, of course, like now, where economy is going down the pan and nobody's got very much money. So we do what we do, and fellowship keeps on working as best it can. But we don't want money to be an issue, and we don't want people to be wielding power with money in fellowship, because we're all equal. Tradition 1, the individual is of primary importance. No AA can tell another AA what to do. So all these principles and traditions have a place, and it keeps us level and equal. We may have more skill and more wisdom in some areas of living, which we share, but we don't dominate each other. It's never about power over others. And if you encounter that, better to change where you are, your meetings, or the people you're associating with, because sobriety won't work if people tell you what to do. It'll drive you mad, or back to the madness and insanity. Anyway, my thoughts for today. Last night I went to a Step 2 meeting, all about insanity and a higher power restoring us to sanity. Love and the steps work just for today, practiced in all our affairs, whether we know it or not. So Step 2 came to believe a power greater than us could restore us to sanity. And the power greater than us, for me, is those with wisdom about living sober, and those with wisdom about living life, those with wisdom who know how to live happily and sadly when we have to go through hardship. So my wisdom comes from other people, and if God works through others, they have it, a higher power. or simply the higher power is the many voices, because it is the many voices in recovery which makes the difference. If we rely on one voice or our own voice, we can't really learn much. Or if we're relying on one other person, we may pull them down when we go down. So I'm sponsored, if you like, by the whole fellowship when it comes to wisdom, how to love and be loved back, and learning the truth of now. All good. And last night's meeting was great, because I remember trying to work out what insanity meant to me with my drinking, and it was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different to happen. So when I came to fellowship and started doing something different, not drinking on a daily basis, my problems didn't go away, but they started to get more manageable because I was doing something about them. I wasn't letting them pile up into great heaps. There you are, another one on step 2. But anyway, the one which also occurred to me this morning is step living, life in the fast lane versus slow down, you're moving too fast. Good song titles, and I can have those whirring about in my head. So life in the fast lane, slow down, you're moving too fast. When we really get a handle on our step toolkit, that's a 12-step toolkit, we do both. We can do both. Living in the fast lane or slowing down to smell the coffee. Step change, always just for today. And that's the purpose of the toolkit, that we can go fast when we need to, be agile and quick on our feet, and at the same time slow down to meditate and reflect, and just to catch up with ourselves, because life is quick. I don't believe it. It's halfway through the year already. Another year in sobriety. Goodness me. And this 12-step toolkit is designed for every element of living. It's not there to plod through, oh my God, which step applies now. We just live the steps once we understand them, and we get our freedom because of it. We get freedom of choice based on real life situations. Another year, the value of sobriety, emotional, spiritual and physical well-being. In addiction we have most likely lost our way, comparing and despairing, a fearful trap of self-hate and materialism, forever wanting to be fixed. Sober today, we get to know how we feel about life, live in the moment and deal with our well-being, needs met, less wanting. And that's it. If we know what our feelings are right now, without a history full of feelings piling in on us, of the oh no, here we go again type scenario, we say, ooh, this is new. I feel okay right now about X, Y and Z. I feel okay about being sober today. Rather than, I wish I could go back to where I was before and drink my life away. I don't wish that. I don't even wish for a drink, because it won't serve any purpose in my life anymore. Yeah, sober today, we get to know how we feel. And if my feelings fit reality, just as it is today, emotional spiritual program, my feelings fit reality. Emotional, feelings, spiritual, living in the moment. I'm coping with it best I can. Needs met, less wanting. And from another year, to cherish and learn wisdom. Out of the frying pan into the fire of living. Addiction fried our brains day after day. Well, it did for me. It kept me doing things which were bad for me over and over again, working for the wrong people, in the wrong place, with the wrong things. That is, working in finance in my case, helping people run organisations. In the wrong place, with the wrong things. Wrong place? Yeah. Finance was not my thing, really. Absolutely not. I may have worked out how to do it, be good at it, help other people do it. Wrong place for me. I'd have been better in a more, I don't know what, something else, definitely. My life got diverted from what I really like. Photography, and the woman back then, who I should have married. Anyway, that's another story. Yeah, and that's it, Addiction fried our brains day after day. Raw to sober living, every sense burns. We make mistakes all the time when we're learning how to get sober. And we are hot in recovery. It's the hotness of making mistakes and feeling guilt and shame about it, when indeed there is no guilt and shame in learning. the guilt and shame is covering up and saying, no, it wasn't me. And as anger and resentment at ourselves falls away, and this is the most important part, how do we forgive ourselves in our life story for all the harshness that went on? And how do we forgive other people who had their element in it too? If we remember we were doing the best we could with what we had, and that others still do the best they can with what they have, we are doing exactly the same thing. And sometimes it works out pretty well, and sometimes it's a horrible, horrible mess. That's life. But if we can learn from it and stop the blame game and stop the guilt and shame game, then we move on and say, okay, that hasn't worked out, has it? How can we help each other? Or how do we separate from each other and shake hands on it, or whatever it is? That is difficult. So as anger and resentment at ourselves falls away, we start to learn how to live again. We cherish experience, learn wisdom. We are good enough for today. And good enough means that we've had a superb day. Good enough to live, good enough to learn, good enough to contribute, good enough to love other people, and good enough to receive love from other people, and learn a bit of wisdom along the way. Wow. And last night was great. And the reason why it was great, I heard a friend of mine speak about recovery in a way which I've never heard him speak about it before. And, you know, that is amazing when we hear that. And the person doing the chair I hadn't seen for a long time. So I went up to them, a female, gave them a hug, and said, I'll see you in about a year's time. And she said, why, where are you going? I said, no, we sort of only meet once a year, and it's good to see them and hear them. That's the most important part. And to know that they're making progress, as we all are. Progress comes in two ways. Progress towards serenity, I guess, and progress to more hard times, depending on how we view life with our 12-step toolkit. You know, I wish we were able to push it along in the fast lane, step recovery. But we have to go at the pace that we can go at. And sometimes it's quick and sometimes it's slow. But if we're making progress, every time we make a mistake, yippee, we've made progress. If we learn from it and don't do it again, or know when it's coming up again and try and do something about it. Steps work just for today. They're not something we put on the bookshelf and forget about. If we do, no recovery. Well, no progressive recovery. And who wants to be stuck? And that would be insanity, wouldn't it? So, progression always. We are making progress. We're falling apart as we get older. I can tell you that from my personal experience. So, enough for me for today. The Serenity Prayer, which helps me in any given moment. To God, or in good conscience, or just as a meditation, it's the can do, can't do. I can do this, change my attitude and behaviour and what I'm up to. I can't do, change other people's attitude and behaviour and make them do what I want them to do. And learning the wisdom around that, of opportunity. So the Serenity Prayer to God, or in good conscience, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Can do, can't do in the moment of now, and just for today.